Hello and welcome back to another CAD clip. In this lesson we're going to teach you a little bit about some family stuff where we will create a property to turn on and off the trim on this window. And this is a lesson we've done before, but I always think it's worthwhile. There's always new people coming in and using the software, and this is REVIT 2013, so a little bit new and fresh, but this is a lesson we've done several times. And the scenario is here. We've got some windows, or it could be a door, it could be any family really that you've even created, and you want the ability to turn parts of it on or off. And so this is a lesson on how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to see that there's a window here. We pick on it. We see if there's different window types loaded. So there's only that one fixed window type in there. We could scroll down here to our families and we could go into windows and we would see that there is, in fact, right at the bottom, only one window family loaded in. It's fixed and it doesn't seem to have any trim around the inside or the outside. So one quick way of fixing that and loading all at the same time is I can pick on this window and pick on this window, and I can go into the edit type button, and while I'm in there, a lot of people don't realize you can hit the load button right here if you see you don't have the window you want. That's always been there, and from there we can go to our library of objects and we go into there and we can say casement with trim. Perfect. Single casement with trim. It's going to load that family up here and it's going to give us our different types. So we say okay, we look at the materials, trim material, interior and exterior. Okay, this is interesting. This is just the materials. So when you go into materials, it's using that. So I can say, well, that looks like about a 36 by 48, and it's going to change them both to be a casement window with trim. But the problem is I want to be able to have the option to turn the trim on or off. So let's just have a look at this. I'm going to pick on this window right here. I'm going to go down to my sunglasses, wrong one, down to here, and I'm going to say isolate the element. And I'm going to use a shift middle mouse and click out. Okay, there's the window. So the interior trim, it has a little more bottom end, and the exterior just has a little piece of sill there. So that's good. Let's go back and reset that. Okay, so what we want to do now is edit this family so that when we pick on here, there's going to be a thing here that says interior trim on or off and exterior trim on or off. So you can turn it on and off. The first time through, we're going to make it an instance parameter so that we can do it on individual windows. Then we'll double back and make them a type parameter and make a specific type. So it doesn't matter. They're both the same family. I'm going to pick on here and say edit family. We're going to go inside of there, and there is it looks like we're in the exterior elevation. Okay, here, or are we in a 3D view? Yeah, we're actually in a 3D view. So if I pick on there, it swivels it around. So there's our window, and if I go to my floor plans and I go to the floor line, you can see there's an exterior and an interior, and there's our little trim at the base of the sill. So now what we want to do is we're just going to make a couple of parameters. So we'll go up here to our family types and go in and say add a parameter. And we're going to call it exterior trim on off. And it's going to be first time through, we'll make it instance. This is the most important thing we're going to set is the yes no. We'll group it under graphics, which means that under here it'll be graphics in the properties. Good. We hit OK. In fact, I'm going to use a copy and paste to make this go faster. Control C copies that to the clipboard. Hit add. Go into here. Control V, and then just change this to be int. And using the same naming convention, interior trim on or off, instance, and group it under a yes no, and group it under graphics, make it a yes no type. Very important. Hit OK. By default, they're going to be turned on. Okay, and that'll apply to all the different types inside of here. All these different types will all by default have the ability to turn the window trim on or off in the exterior. Boom, hit OK. We're not done yet. Now we're going to go back to our 3D view, and we need to apply that to the actual elements. So inside of here, this is the interior. So I'll pick on there and say your visibility is going to be controlled by the parameter, the sneaky little parameter button, interior on off. If it says yes, it's checked off, it'll be on. Otherwise, it'll be off. Good. Click out. That's it. Shift middle mouse. Pick on this and this together, the bottom piece. You might have to use your tab button to grab that. And we'll say your visibility, whether you're on or off, is controlled by this parameter, interior trim on or off. And then this becomes grayed out because it's now being controlled. And you can see that the material is also, these ones are blank. Click out, we're done. Now we should save this and then load it, but I'm just going to go straight in and load. And I'm going to load and overwrite. Regular overwrite. It's not going to do anything because by default they're turned on. So now what I can do is individually I can pick this window and then I can say, okay, interior trim is on but exterior is off. Pick out, and it is, did I get that? Pick on here, exterior is off, interior is off. Did I get that backwards? Let's go, let's undo that. That is, did I get them backwards? Let's go pick on here and say exterior. Yeah, definitely it's not following the exterior. Did something wrong. Maybe you spotted that. Pick on here, edit the family, go back inside. And if you were watching close enough, you probably did notice that. Pick on here and say you are being controlled by exterior. All right. Let's check the other one while we're at it. Click on here. Congratulations to you if you spotted that. That's got the interior. So I set them both to interior. Very good. Load to the project and overwrite the version. And I didn't overwrite the parameters, so it did disappear because it is still turned off, right? If I turn it on, it comes back. And same as with this guy. Let's isolate that object temporarily. Okay, click out in the project. I can pick on the window now and say, okay, both of them are on or off, or one is on. And you don't even have to, all you have to do is wait for a second and it'll show up. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so now let's reset this. Now we want to make it so it's type specific. So we want to be able to pick on here and say, okay, we want a 36 by 48 with trim and a 36 by 48 without trim. And if I change that way, it'll apply to all of them. So I'm going to go back in and say, oops, I don't want to do that. Wrong button. Pick on here and go back in here and say edit family. And go to a 3D view because I feel comfortable in 3D. And now what I'm going to do is go into here, and I'm going to take these guys and say modify and make them type specific. Pick on here, modify, type. Okay. Now what happens is that I can take this 36 by 24, and I'm going to go make a new type and call it a 36-inch by, I'm going to go 48-inch, no trim. Okay, hit OK. So the first thing I have to do is say the 36 by 48. So the width is 36, the height is 48, which is 4 feet. And by default, these guys are off. So I made a new type. Boom, hit OK, load it into the project. Overwrite the existing. Now all I did was bring one in, right? So now what I'm going to do is I can pick on this window here and say, okay, you are a 36 by 48 no trim. Click out. That's a new type. So this guy is a 36 by 48, and we can change it to be 36 by 48 no trim. Or you can duplicate from right inside of here. As many of you probably know, you can go and edit type, and what you can do is go, okay, well, I want a 36 by 24 no trim. So you take this guy and you duplicate it right inside of here, and you say 36 by 24 no trim. Okay, and hit OK, and then you just turn this off. That's it. So this is going to become a 36, this one, 36 by 24, and we probably want to set that head height back to be 1800 or something like that, or more. And so that is a new type. It is a 36 by 24 no trim. So a little bit of a lesson on instance parameters versus type parameters, and the yes, no parameter type that you can go in really was the lesson on and turn stuff on and off. So if you ever have a family and you say, I'd really like to have this object, but to be able to turn off part of it or on at your choice. Okay, so doors and windows are usually a big candidate of this parameter. So that's it for now. Hope you learned something.